I told you last week and then this week that it was going to be big news that everywhere across the country that establishment Democrats and Republicans give speeches, they get booed off the stage by their own constituents, they get chased from the building. And by chased, when the whole crowd starts chanting and booing and yelling at them, the 2 or 3 sheeple out of 100, 200, 300 that actually support Lloyd Doggett, the congressman or Senator Cornyn, doesn't matter what party, they then start chanting. Because you'd have to be an idiot to support the establishment, a sheep. So as soon as they see the other people chanting against them, they start chanting. You can watch the videos. They're peer pressure controlled. And the establishment can herd the slaves as long as they keep the illusion going. But as soon as the illusion dissipates, it is over for the establishment. So we're going to be covering that today. We're going to go live at prisonplanet.tv today. In the second, third, and fourth hour, we're going to give you 3 hours of simulcast at prisonplanet.tv for prisonplanet.tv members. Simulcast of this radio show that then goes into the living color via the web video at prisonplanet.tv, where all my films are posted and so much more. I want to thank all the prisonplanet.tv members. Here is the stack of news. They're finally covering it. Now, over the weekend and this week, they said it was all staged. They said it was only lobbyists being bussed in with no proof, total lies. Now they're admitting it's grassroots and saying they're scared and having the police arrest people. They think that if they, in Florida and Missouri and New York and New Jersey and California, the reports are just deluging in, pouring in, that they're having cops arrest people for no reason, including news reporters. And let me give you a little memo, government. That's only going to intensify. I know you, and what did they say 2 years ago when it's in the film Truth Rising? They said 9/11 truthers going to events and asking questions should be tasered, taken to offshore bases, and tortured. That was a talking point on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all the major shows. And we have clip after clip in the film Truth Rising. They wanted to have a chilling effect and scare people. That didn't work, did it? And again, 9/11 truth, we are change, really modeling off of what I did back in the mid and late 90s, again, which we've been saying all the time. We want people to model after us and improve on what we pioneered and go out and take over these press conferences and events and speeches and ask real questions. And it's happening. Very exciting. And so now they're trying to intimidate and arrest people. That'll only intensify it. Good job, Redcoats. They did that back in the years leading up to 1776. Good job. And show us your tyrants. Show us your thugs. We're going to cover it all when we get back and a lot more. Big show today. Big finish for the week. All I do is point out the asinine corruption and hypocrisy of the government, the media, the establishment. I point out just what's obvious. Over the last few months, we have seen Republicans and Democrats, we just observe the facts and report them, being booed off the stage, chanted off the stage. They then run out of the meetings because it's always so embarrassing. It gets on local media. And then here locally on TV and radio, I always hear the newscast, a very mean, bad crowd who wasn't very gentlemanly and against our democracy was mean to the congressman or the senator or the governor. And they'll have the governor's spokesman or the senator himself or Lloyd Doggett going, it was all staged. These people are just hateful. And so I knew it was in the local news around the country. That's the great part about the Internet. It ends the national news monopoly on information. So local news becomes national news, and that's what we post at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. We try to give people a clear picture of what's happening in the United States and across the world, a snapshot. And in the last few months, I don't ever hear of a town hall or an event or a meeting where the people don't yell and scream and go after the politicians, when they push blanket amnesty, anti-gun bills, the carbon tax, the government socialized health care, the fascist health care, really, the euthanasia health care. And then, we actually get the bills and post them. And then the people read the bills. And then they go and they hear the politician lie and say, that's not in the bill. In fact, I saw a clip yesterday I meant to play. Congressman Conyers, in fact, search engine this and pull it up. There's too many clips, too little time. Saying, headline should be, Conyers says we don't need to read the bills. Or says it's stupid to read the bills. And it was a video clip of him saying reading the bills is bad. I mean, it's like they're in an alternate dimension now. He said, what are you going to do? Read a 1,000-page bill? No, you pass it. I mean, it's like a capitulation to corruption. The lobbyists write a 1,300-page bill, and then 10 minutes before they're set to vote on the cap and trade, they bring the bill out to the full floor, and no one's allowed to read it. I mean, America is run by special interests that write the bills, and then it's now extreme and bizarre and bad to want to read it. And Obama gets up on TV and says, just get out of my way. Get out of my way on health care. I'm doing it. And I have the bill here in front of me, and we've gone over it. And it is absolutely 180 degrees the opposite of this country and what this nation stands for. And that's just a fact. And we're going to go back over it again today when Bob Chapman's on with us, because it deals with financial issues. We'll deal with it for most of that hour. But, and they engage in this hoax saying the economy's better and everything's fine, when every economic indicator except for the stock market shows that we're in free fall with the real economy dying. I mean, I've never seen a case in the last 100 years looking at history, and the news admits they've never heard of one either, where dead bodies are stacking up at the morgues in every major town and city because people don't have money to bury their own families. I mean, we're going back to pauper graves now that we haven't had in 100 years. The states and the counties are so bankrupt, the bodies are stacked up. Whole rooms of dead bodies. We can play the local newscast videos of this. Rooms stacked with corpses in body bags. Society unraveling. When we go live at prisonplanet.tv, we'll show people that image. It's up on Infowars.com right now. I mean, is that not an indicator of society collapsing? Whole neighborhoods in Michigan and Florida and California and Texas, and where 1 out of 5 houses is occupied, there's just for sale signs. The people have lost their homes. The homes are just rotting. Massive job layoffs intensifying. And the media says the economy's great. Here's the headlines. I got a whole stack on the town halls being taken over. You are terrifying us. Voters send a message to Washington and get an ugly response. This is out of the Wall Street Journal. And the ugly response is the police come after you. Now they're saying, there is a rule tonight. I am saying no one is allowed to raise your voice. If you do, you'll be thrown out. And the cops run over and taser you or drag you out. Yeah, that's the American way, isn't it? And the media keeps saying it's so un-American to raise your voice. No, it's totally American. It's 110% freedom and liberty to yell at these criminals that violate the Bill of Rights and Constitution and do the opposite of what the people sent them there to do. Top Democrats denounce health care protest. AP, the Senate's most powerful Democrat, scolded health care protesters, dogging his party's lawmakers at local meetings, arguing that some critics of the political right have run out of ideas and ditched their civic manners. Majority Leader Harry Reid of Nevada accused the protesters of trying to sabotage the democratic process. See, you're anti-democratic because you're democratically coming out and 90+% are standing up and chanting they don't want it. That's sabotaging. as they go out and brainwash the public. And the Federal Reserve's being booed at all these public meetings they're having. And then they say, oh, you're hurting America. Hey, go ahead. That crap isn't working. Nancy Pelosi says you're racist Nazis and AstroTurf. That isn't going to work. The polls show over 90% don't want the open borders. The polls show over 90% don't want the cap and trade. The polls showed 99% didn't want your banker takeover, and now they've stolen $23.7 trillion. The people don't want to turn their guns in, but you don't care. You've introduced the bills, and they found out you're lying when you say you haven't introduced them. You criminals just keep lying and just keep it going. Keep it going. And I've got all these video clips coming up. AARP organizers cancel listening session after participants refused to keep their comments quiet.